6. We have main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1.
The jury in Donald Trump's hush money trial has reached a verdict, signaling a highly anticipated culmination of the first criminal case against a former American president. The verdict from the 12-person jury is expected to be delivered soon in the Manhattan courtroom, where prosecutors spent weeks presenting allegations that Trump participated in a hush money scheme aimed at suppressing stories he feared could be harmful to his 2016 presidential campaign. An acquittal would represent a massive win for the former president, who will return to the campaign trail as an emboldened candidate aiming to retake the White House in November's presidential election, while a guilty verdict would represent a stunning legal reckoning for Trump after years of criminal investigations. Trump is charged with 34 counts of falsifying business records at his company in connection with an alleged scheme to hide potentially embarrassing stories about him during his 2016 Republican presidential election campaign. The charge of felony arises from reimbursements paid to then-Trump lawyer Michael Cohen after he made a $130,000 hush money payment to porn actor Stormy Daniels to silence her claims that she and Trump had sex in 2006. Trump is accused of misrepresenting Cohen's reimbursements as legal expenses to hide that they were tied to a hush money payment. Trump has pleaded not guilty and contends the Cohen payments were legitimate for legal services. He has also denied the alleged extramarital sexual encounter with Daniels. To convict Trump, the jury would have to find unanimously that he created a fraudulent entry in his company's records or caused someone else to do so, and that he did so with the intent of committing or concealing another one. The crime prosecutors say Trump committed or hid is a violation of a New York election law, making it illegal for two or more conspirators to, quote, promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means, close quote. While the jury must unanimously agree that something unlawful was done to promote Trump's election campaign, they don't have to be unanimous on what that unlawful thing was. The jurors, a diverse cross-section of Manhattan residents and professional backgrounds, often appeared riveted by testimony in the trial, including from Cohen and Daniels. Many took notes and watched intently as witnesses answered questions from Manhattan prosecutors and Trump's lawyers. We are going to stay on the air a little bit past our 4 o'clock end time. Let me now thank CEO Pedro Martinez for being on the show. Let me also thank Micah Collier for being on the show, and the Boston Typewriter Orchestra. Nemec, Charlie, Stephanie, Jamie, thank you very much. We will see you guys, if not next week, in 2 weeks. Jamie Trecker is on his way down here now. We're going to discuss this verdict as it is about to be released. I am also hopeful that this comes soon. It goes without saying, this is, no matter how this goes down, this is a unique day in American history. This gentleman, Donald John Trump, did everything that he could possibly do during his tenure as president to upset the apple cart, if you will. And he is the whole Stormy Daniels thing, if you remember, was a big point of contention about whether those funds were campaign funds. This is wild. This is wild, man. We're going to. I'm quite sure that there is it has to be wall to wall television stuff happening right now. We're going to try to plug into some of it, of course, that we can, the stuff we can plug into. And I am efforting all of that now. This is, as I was saying, this is a unique day in American history. We're talking about a man that was the president of the United States actually being, there's a strong chance he could go to jail this afternoon. I'm not, It only took them a few days to deliberate, which was surprising. What, 2 days? I can't say that I remember. Well, no, I can say it. I do not remember a time in the history of the United States since I've been alive that something like this was taking place. This is an unusual and hard to read moment here. We've been doing for a couple of years. Well, actually, during his presidency, the Trump Chronicles. There's so much stuff that the man did that we could talk about and probably get him in front of a judge and a jury. By the way, this is WLPNLP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin Radio. This is continuing coverage of the Donald Trump trial. A verdict has been reached by the jury. It has not been read yet. Its reading is imminent. We will give you the coverage here on Lumpin' the moment that the verdict is released. This is wild. This is wild. Jamie Trecker will be joining us shortly. There is coverage coming from CNN. We understand that the judge's clerk has entered the courtroom and that they are waiting on the jurors to come into the courtroom. This should be happening rather shortly. 4 years of Donald Trump, there was so much. The dog whistling, the whole, even in this instance, with this trial going down, Mother Teresa wouldn't be able to bear the charges. Him kind of speaking to his flock, if you will, of what's going on. The judge is now on the bench, by the way. The judge is sitting on the bench as we speak. This is going to be happening rather shortly. And this is absolutely crazy. I never thought ever that this would be something that we would see happen. The judge has called for the jury to come in. I'm giving this to you as quickly as I can get it. I'm hopeful that you don't want to know what I really think. I'm hopeful that however this goes down, I don't know, and I was thinking about this earlier today. Does the GOP have someone else in mind for president, or at least to be on the short list of folks who are able to run for president should Donald Trump be convicted in this trial? Jamie Trecker has quickly left his home and has hit the studio. Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. Hey, so there's some important things to talk about right now. First of all, Trump cannot be remanded to jail today. It is unlikely that a judge, in fact, would even order him held. A sentencing date would be in 4 to 6 weeks. He faces a possibility of as little as probation and as much as 4 years in jail on these felony counts in New York State. As Mario has already put it, it's unusual in a sense that a jury has reached a verdict so quickly. Earlier today, the jury asked for a rereading of the judge's instructions, which were complex, as well as some testimony for the defense. So while it is it's illuminating that the jury only deliberated for 18 hours, it really is not a tell whether that's for the prosecution or the defense.
And that's what I was going to ask. Does that mean that they feel like, yeah, he is guilty, or yeah, he is innocent?
I think it's pretty straightforward. I think if you've got an 18-hour jury, somebody's come to a deliberative statement, so it's going to be clean either way. Now, this case, of course, is the first of 4 against Trump. Remember, he's being tried in 3 other cases that have not yet reached even the trial phase. This is probably the only case that is going to reach criminal trial before the election. Now, there's reasons for that. A couple of them are Supreme Court adjudications. One, of course, is due to a judge in Florida, Aileen Cannon, who is apparently entertaining a lot of discussion about the documents case, which was widely considered by legal experts to be a slam dunk, though that has been slowed down. This case, I think, has divided legal experts. Some people think this is judicial overreach in New York, and I'm not talking about people on the right. I think many people think this is a unusual use of the statutes in New York to declare a felony conspiracy in terms of falsifying records. Normally, I think if the defendant was not so high profile, we would not be seeing this level of prosecution. However, I think it's, and we also do need to remember that the DA before the current one did not think he could bring a case. So when the current DA in Manhattan came in, he resuscitated this case. So let's be clear about that. So I think that on a jury right now, it's a 12-man jury. 2 of them are lawyers. One of them has already said he doesn't know anything about criminal law. But 2 of them are, again, experienced barristers. I think they have probably steered this panel to a point where they feel they need to make a definitive verdict, and I think they need to have it cut one way or the other. Again, Trump today is facing either becoming the first felon, a former American president, or the jury has bought his arguments that it is business as usual.
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I find it difficult to believe it's business as usual to pay off a porn star.
I've never heard of that before, but I mean, maybe.
But, the question is whether he has been found guilty of felony. Trump has been found guilty.
Let's hit MSNBC real quick and Ari Melber and hear what's going on.
Tracking ahead. Count 9, guilty. Count 10, guilty. Count 11, guilty. Count 12, guilty. Count 13, guilty. Count 14, guilty. Count 16, guilty. Count 17.
Wow.
Guilty. Count 18.
Whoa.
Wow.
Guilty. Count 19.
Wow.
Guilty. Count 20.
Holy.
Guilty. Count 21.
He's guilty
Count
on all of them.
22. Guilty. Count 23. Guilty. Count 24.
Holy.
Guilty. Count 25.
Whoa.
Guilty. Count 26. Guilty.
Whoa.
Count 27.
Whoa.
We're seeing that on screen. Guilty.
Whoa.
Count 28. Guilty. Those are the first 28 felony counts.
Trump
here,
has
as
been
read by the
found guilty
jury.
on 28 counts of felony in the state of New York. Trump has now become the first former American president to be guilty of felony. He now faces
That is
criminal
Donald J.
charges
Trump, defendant
and
in New
time
York
in
versus
jail.
Donald Trump.
He's guilty on all 34
Guilty
counts.
on
He is
all
guilty.
34 felony counts. That is the verdict here in this
That
case.
is a clean sweep by a New York jury.
Whoa.
Wow. All right, let's talk about really what this means. So, Trump right now is
Holy
not,
moly.
again, for those just tuning in, Trump has been found guilty on each of the 34 felony counts in New York State that charges he committed a conspiracy to overturn a justifiable verdict in the 2016 election by paying a hush money payment to a porn star who had alleged they had a sexual encounter. Trump paid that money, according to prosecutors, because he believed that if the encounter was revealed, it would, quote, tank his chances of going to the White House. A jury of 12 men and women in New York, in Manhattan, have found him guilty on every count.
Wow.
This is this is
Wow.
unprecedented.
Whoa.
As much as,
Holy moly.
this is never before has an American candidate for the Republican Party nomination been found guilty on all 34 felony counts.
That's crazy.
Trump is now a convicted felon.
That is absolutely. So what? Okay. He can't be remanded today. He can't
That
go
is
to
correct.
jail today.
He can actually be held. He can be sent to jail right now if the judge chooses to hold him. If he is judged to be a flight risk, he can seize his passport. He can limit his movements.
So,
Again, this verdict means this is a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
So before this verdict, Trump had made the argument that this was election interference and this had been brought against him by the Biden campaign. Those are unsupportable and unsubstantiated arguments.
right.
Before that, the judge had given him wide leeway to say things. Now that he is convicted, he has a lot less rope. He is going to be prohibited from talking about the verdict on social media. He is going to be prohibited in his movements. He can be fitted with an ankle monitor. He can be remanded to.
I'm sorry.
He
sorry,
can be
Jamie.
remanded
I'm sorry,
to
man.
Rikers overnight.
Oh, my
He
God.
actually can be held at Rikers. His license and his passport should and can be seized.
Yeah.
Because it could be argued that he's a flight risk.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
Well,
I mean, where's he going to fly to? Who would have him?
Dubai, but
Yeah, well, or Bali
you know,
with Diddy.
probably not Bali, but Dubai and the Emirates, which he's done business with, or China or Russia.
Yeah.
It could be argued that he could be a flight risk. Prosecutors are probably going to press that, though if I were the Manhattan DA, I would not, just for political purposes, ask him to be held. But the judge now, Juan Merchan, will set sentencing. He does face 4 years in state penitentiary.
Wow.
Now, these are not federal crimes, but one thing that's really important here, and I think people have been talking about this a lot, some of the other cases that Trump faces, had or if he wins the presidency again, he could dismiss them through his Department of Justice.
But right.
He cannot dismiss this. This is a state case.
And I was going to ask, and I asked the question as you were walking in. By the way, this is WLPNLP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin Radio. Donald John Trump, the former president of the United States, has been found guilty on all 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first. Oh yes, he is in the first degree. What does the GOP do now? Do they have a backup plan for somebody to run against Joe Biden?
Wow. I mean, I think that's a great question. I think that according to opinion polls that I've been looking at, you know, if Trump was convicted today, that is going to change the minds of some right-leaning but uncommitted base Republicans. Now, remember, Trump only enjoys around a 30% approval rating in terms of the Republican Party itself. That has been magnified, remember, because so many people in that party are cowed by his social media pronouncements and the fact that there has been an organized movement to bring loyalists into the Republican Party at the state level. We've seen that in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Nevada. We've also seen them moving into previously unpolitical positions that nobody cared about, such as election observer.
Wow.
Okay, so there are a lot of motivated MAGA, America First people that have been energized by Trump, who are now in positions of power in the GOP as a whole. And I think it's accurate to say that the GOP is now Trump's party. And I would say the converse is not true. The GOP without Trump right now may not exist. The middle and the centrist Republicans, the Republicans, in fact, of my day and age, you know, my grandmother was a Republican registrar of voters in the state of Connecticut. Those people don't exist. They're gone. They've quit, or they have decided they're not going to register a party affiliation because there's a huge cost, as they've seen, in the right-wing media landscape to go against Trump. Even though Fox News, I think, has tilted against Trump and the MAGA movement, you still have One American News Network. You still have other Breitbart. You still have a huge, very closed right-wing ecoverse that is essentially an echo chamber that has been all in on Donald Trump. Now, that again, however, that's not a plurality of the party. I would say that is a large part of it, but it's not a plurality. Some of the people who would say the Republicans to you and I, Mario, maybe they're suburban voters, maybe they're people up in Hinsdale, maybe they're, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Illinois obviously has Illinois is the home of the Republican Party.
Yeah,
they have
it
a
is.
significant Republican sense. there is great squeamishness to Trump being a felon. That is a game changer.
You would think.
I don't think, I know. That is a game changer. It's very different to have a politician who has lied, cheated, stolen. That happens to politicians all the time.
Right.
Sex scandal, foul mouth. Again, you could argue that this is just life in the modern age. A convicted felon, however,
Wow.
that is a baseline that the Republican Party, no party in America, I mean, even Eugene Debs, when he was in jail, running as a socialist candidate, he was, in jail running for it. But I mean, this was in the 1920s. He obviously had no chance to win. Now, I think there are two questions here. The fact that Trump is a convicted felon, which still holds power in the heartland, and the fact that he could be campaigning from jail.
That's wild. That's wild.
Does make me wonder what the escape hatch is. The problem is, in all 50 states, remember, the Republicans went to a fast nomination process.
Yes, they did.
They eliminated everybody else. And to be fair, the Democrats basically did the same thing. It was Joe Biden, but there really wasn't anybody that was challenging Joe Biden because he's the incumbent.
Mm-hmm.
Nikki Haley is the only person that has picked up enough delegates right now, and not enough to be the Republican nominee, to be a credible person that you could put forward. But to do that would require negating all of Trump's delegate wins.
This also puts the Republican convention in Wisconsin. It shines
Oh,
a
it puts it a
whole
huge
different
doubt.
light on it.
Woo.
What does that look like? Are they going to even go through with the nomination of Donald Trump? Because that still has to happen.
I think that's a great question. I think, obviously the Democrats right now are nominating Joe Biden early because of the Ohio ruling. For people who don't know, Ohio was unwilling to have Biden on the ballot unless he had a virtual nomination ahead of the Chicago conference here in August. I wonder very much now what the roll call is going to be. Because remember, a nominating conference for a political party is very different than apportioning of delegates. If you actually look at what can happen, and we saw this because this was an attempt by Trump to, of course, put fraudulent delegates and electors in there, you can have people who are on the floor who are pledged to a candidate change the candidate they're pledged to. Mm-hmm. I think it is, frankly, highly unlikely. I think that right now, remember, I mean, again, Trump, Lara Trump is the head of the Republican Party. He controls many of the levers of power. I think it's very unlikely that the Republicans tonight do something. But I bet you, dollars to donuts, there are panic stations right now.
There would have to be, Jamie. There has to be people going just bananas at the moment.
Do you think, I do not think Trump felt he was going to be convicted.
Oh, not at all. He never had that in his mind.
No, I think he did not. Now, of course, he's going to appeal. He's going to file an immediate appeal. So I think the question is, and this is, I think, where it gets a little sticky. Mm-hmm. His lawyers are awful. I mean,
his spokesman too.
They've made a hash of this. Well, his spokesman is a former spokesman for the mixed martial arts, UFC.
Yeah,
Stephen Chung. So he is a belligerent figure that has been well known. I've known him in sports for years. I would call him a word I cannot use on the air. several words. But he's been picked by Trump because Trump wants to put forth this deep belligerence. And it's funny, you look at the video of Trump coming out, he's got a bunch of thick-headed bald guys, that are basically his security staff, including Stephen Chung, who, if I'm not mistaken, is there with Stephen Miller, who's also another beaut.
Oh, well, don't get me started on him.
These guys do not believe. They're true believers. And I think that one of the things that's going on here is that because Trump has told his legal team to present a specific case, which I did not have sex with that woman, which nobody believes. Everybody believes he has sex with Stormy Daniels, Stephanie Clifford. B, I did not pay that money, which is obviously unbelievable as well. And C, his lawyer's arguments that, well, even if the money was paid because he was becoming the leader of the free world, he didn't pay attention to it. Donald Trump's the biggest tightwad ever in New York City. He's always paid attention to what money he's getting. Those lies hurt his defense.
I think Trump is getting ready to approach the mic at the moment, let's hear this. This should be very interesting.
Trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. But the real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people. And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here. You have a Soros-backed DA and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration in order to wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end, and we'll win, because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess. We're a nation in decline, serious decline. Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now from prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble. But this was a rigged decision right from day one, with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case.
Gag
Never.
order.
And we will fight for our Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Why should voters vote for a convicted felon?
By the way, the sentencing.
Everything that Trump just said
Yeah, it's
is
great.
what we call BS.
Yeah, it is. The July 11th date has been set for sentencing. Trump faces 3 other felony indictments, but this New York case may be the only one to reach a conclusion, which it has before the election,
Right.
adding to the significance of the outcome. Although the legal and historical implications of the verdict are readily apparent, the political consequences are less so, and it may reinforce people's opinion of him rather than change it.
Well, is that true or not?
I don't think it's true.
Look, Donald says the same thing every time. You know, he always says, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm the victim, rigged system. I think it's kind of hard to argue that 12 anonymous jurors, sure, you can say, well, the DA was prejudiced against me. Mm-hmm. I mean, he did run on a platform, I'm going to get Trump. Mm-hmm. So, okay, that's fine. But the charge is stuck. Now, you can say, well, you know, maybe the judge who, I guess, paid, what, a $35 donation to President Joe Biden? I think that's what it was,
Yeah,
a
something like
piddling
that.
amount, you know. Yeah. Okay, sure. He didn't want to vote for you, and he gave $35 whole to your opponent. Is that a conflict? You know, is it a conflict that's, you know, Justice Samuel Alito is flying a Stop the Steal flag over his house when he's also, you know, overseeing Trump-related cases? I would argue that, yes, it is. However, I think it's very difficult to say that 12 anonymous jurors who we don't know anything about, you know what I mean, and are from Manhattan. Trump, remember, is from Queens. You know, he grew up there. So I think it's hard for him to say logically, oh, well, they're all against me. Well, were they against you in 1980 and 1990 when you were building stuff there? When you were taking their money, when you were paying taxes there? Right. I think that's a step a little too far. Now, I think the bigger question is, what do the Democrats do?
That was going to be my next question to you. There's an opportunity in this moment to really frame the case, maybe not so much for voting for Joe Biden, but for not voting and encouraging people to not vote for Donald Trump. And here's why. 34 different reasons why that you should not vote for him to be the leader and the guy with the codes.
Yeah, I agree with that, except I will say that Biden last time won, I think, basically because he ran on I'm not Trump.
Yep. He
Now,
can't do that twice.
He cannot do that twice. And I would say that while I think that Biden overall has done a decent job, you know, there are obviously negatives that come with having a record. You know, he's going to be attacked on the war in Gaza. He's going to be attacked on his age. He's going to be attacked. Now, most people may not know this. Joe Biden has a pronounced stutter. So he's going to be attacked on imagined and real verbal gaffes. I mean, Mr. Biden has always had a tendency to shoot from the hip, which is why we like seeing him wax that Thunderbird in front of the White House. Diamond Joe.
That's right.
That's always
right.
that beautiful hot wax he puts on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Making sure it looks nice and
It
clean when
has
he
to look
rides around
nice.
the district.
He's always there shirtless, looking for the ladies.
got his sunglasses, his aviators on.
Absolutely. Thank you to the Onion. But anyway, no. Look, I think the Democrats are. If I was the Democrats, I'd be all in.
Yeah.
I'd attack these guys.
From the
to tomorrow
at 4:30.
I think they're timid. I think that if I was them, though, I'd have a TV out right now. Saying, hey, who do you want? Who's going to be your president? A guy who's in jail or the guy who's here?
I would be every member of the Petty family. Tom, Bob, all the Petties. I'm everybody's pet. It would be the worst. I would lay it on Donald Trump as thick as I possibly could because the advantage that the Democrats would have if they did that is that they're not lying.
It's true.
He's the first former president to ever be convicted of a felony.
That is correct.
This is crazy.
34 times. 34. It's not just one felony.
Right, it's
34.
That's a big deal.
That's a big number, yeah. 34. Anyway,
if you're just joining us, and we're going to wrap this up.
We are going to wrap this up, but hey, you are listening to a Lumpen Radio extended special of News from the Service Entrance with Mario Smith. We told Mario, don't go off the air. I don't even know what was supposed to come after this show.
All I saw was stay on the air, and I thought you were talking about me reading about good old Dorval.
No.
I'm like, oh, no.
No.
Dorval in trouble?
Folks, the big news is that Donald J. Trump has been found guilty in a Manhattan courtroom. He's guilty on all 34 counts. These are felony counts.
This is wild.
He has been found guilty in connection with paying hush money to a porn star. He is guilty of conspiracy in New York State to overturn an election.
This is there have been many days that you could mark on your calendar in the last 8 years that have happened in the United States where you're like, wow, that's never happened before. Wow, that's never happened before. Wow, that's never happened before. This is the day that you can honestly look at someone in their face and go, this has never happened before. He is a convicted felon. No matter what happens, he's a twice impeached, convicted former president.
That is correct.
That is outrageous.
It's like when you had your dreads cut off.
Well, that was another day. There are pictures.
That's a big day.
That was a big day. Thank you for coming down.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you for staying on the air. It is 4:30 right now. You're listening to WLPNLP Chicago, 105.5 FM Lumpen Radio. One last time, Donald Trump has been found guilty on 34 felony counts in a New York City courtroom. A Manhattan jury has found him again guilty on all counts involving hush money payments to a porn star that influenced and may have overturned the 2016 federal election.
The sentencing date is set for July 11th. Trump is definitely going to appeal. And everything that you thought you knew about this election coming up in November has totally changed. By the way, as we get out of here, Lumpen Radio will be providing coverage from the Democratic National Convention this year here in Chicago. And I expect both conventions, the Republican Convention and the Democratic National Convention, to be absolutely bananas.
They're going to be messy.
They're going to both
They're going to be super messy.
Wild.
Before we get off the air, real quick, let's talk about that because I am actually worried the Democratic National Convention now is going to be super violent.
It might be. You know, and we definitely are going to go. I don't know if. I think a lot depends on this time between now and July 11th when the sentencing happens. I think if you see anything close to the January 6th stuff, I think that gets quelled way quicker this time than it did before.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about that.
But I just think all of those things are in play now. right?
Agreed. No, I agree.
All
I
those things
think
are in play.
what I'm thinking of in the Democratic National Convention, I think the fact that Israel is not stopping
that
its
part.
offense in Rafah,
That part.
that is going to be messy. I think you're
part.
going to see a lot of people on the left protesting against Joe Biden. I think that the Republicans are going to use that as hay. I'm obviously the Jewish commentator on here, but I'm keeping my powder dry for a second on this one.
Right.
I do think that's going to be spun in some ugly ways. I really do. On the Republican side in Wisconsin, that could be a complete S show.
It could be.
It could be just.
It probably will be.
It probably will be. Some of those people in Wisconsin that have been elevated are crazy.
And also, you got to think that today they're all kind of shaking a little bit, like what's about to happen.
I think
here.
things are really going to spin up there because you have some people there who are true believers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we've said this before, Mario. This is partly a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when a cult gets attacked? They compress and they double down.
Yeah.
And you're looking at kind of a David Koresh situation here right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't
which is
disagree
ugly.
with that. I wouldn't
Which is
disagree
ugly.
with that at all.
I think we've got a lot of powder that could be ignited. I think some of this stuff could get bad. Hot summer, baby.
For those of you who are just joining us as we get ready to end this coverage, Donald Trump became the first former president to be convicted of felony crimes today as a New York jury found him guilty of falsifying business records in a scheme to illegally influence the 2016 election through hush money payments to a porn actor who said the two had sex. Jurors convicted Trump on all 34 counts after deliberating for 9.5 hours. As the verdict was read, he sat stone-faced in court looking down. This is the most unbelievable day in the history of the Republic, in my opinion. Second only to January 6th. Never before has the United States president been convicted.
The last time we broke into coverage was on January
that day.
2nd.
Listen, everybody, thanks so much for checking out News from the Service Interest. Jamie, thank you for coming down.
Mario. Thank you, Mario.
On behalf of Nemec and Charlie
Thank you,
and
Nemec.
Stephanie,
Yep.
thank you, everybody. We will be back soon. Thank you for listening. And
thank you for caring.
yeah, more than anything.
Thank you.
Thank
you for giving up.
For
You know,
yeah.
You know
Thank
what we
you.
say.
Yeah.
We can't say it on the air, but
thanks.
thank you.
It means a lot that people actually care because this is, like it or not, this is where we're at. We're here. We're living here. And if we're going to be living here, we need to make sure that everybody is held accountable for the BS that they do.
Absolutely.
Have a great night, everybody. This is WLPNLP Chicago 105.5 FM Lumpin' Radio. We join Lumpin' Radio, funny enough, already in progress.
Make you run up and down, so don't you trouble.